Welcome back to the Lockwood Chronicles. My name is Larissa, and today we're talking about, oops, all the books that I read in May. We are back with another wrap-up. This month I read 7 books. And my average rating this month was 3.79, so that's not horrible. We had a few 5 stars, which is even better. I read 2,706 pages. I read primarily all physical books except one audiobook. A shocking turn of events. They were all like general fiction, literary fiction, just fiction. One of them I think can be classified as a romance, but I don't classify it as that. It definitely read more general fiction. Any other stats? No. Okay, cool. Considering I read 3 off of my backlist TBR, we can give a round of applause for that because that typically doesn't happen. I've been trying really hard to get my physical TBR down, especially the ones that have been hanging out on there for too long, and I have a hair tickling my eyeball. How was your guys' reading month? Did you have a good time? Was it fun? Did you get a 5 star? Let's start in the order that I read them. I started off the month finishing up The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. There's a really loud car and that hair is still tickling. Where is it? This is not part of the Magnolia Parks series, but it is like in that world. I got it. Oh my gosh, you guys, I got it. That was so irritating. It is in the Magnolia Parks universe, but it is not, you don't need to read that series to make sense of this, which is wonderful. I loved seeing little blips of characters that we get from the Magnolia Parks. This is about Georgia, and she is like a personal lie detector. She is studying psychology and something else and is able to really depict if somebody is lying based off of their facial features and like their tells that are so minute to most people, but she knows how to decipher them, which is really cool. I loved her character. She lives in London. Unfortunately, she does have to go back to South Carolina when she finds out that her father has passed, so she has to go back there for his funeral and the reading of the will. However, there is very much bad blood between her family and one of her brothers. And when she gets there, she sees this really hot guy and she thinks it's her brother's boyfriend, and so she just starts like hitting out and just being funny, and turns out it's not. He's her brother's sponsor. I loved their romance, but I loved this whole book. I love the family dynamics, the discussions portrayed in this, and I love Georgia. I just really, really loved her. Her way of thinking was just wonderful. This writing was absolutely beautiful. I loved the redemption arc that we got between some of the siblings. We're on like a little mystery solving thing too, which that was really cool and shocking. I absolutely love this. This was a 5 star for me, and to start off the month with a 5 star was the best. Look at this cover too. Absolutely gorgeous. I read Honey by Isabel Banta, and I did vlog this too. I think I vlogged all but one of them. We did Battle of the Bands with this one. Honey is about Amber Young, and she is a pop star in the early 2000s, late 90s. And it's her rise to fame, female pop star in that time period, as well as just in the industry. Difficult mentally and physically it is, and how to maintain relationships when you are traveling the globe, as well as being pitted against your friends too, as that are also in the industry. I just thought it made a lot of really beautiful and valid points. I really loved the writing and the fact that this is her debut book. I was about to say debut album. Debut book was so incredible. I really, really liked it. She had a lot of insecurities about not ever being enough, especially for her family, or just like not being lovable because of things that happened in her childhood and just the way that she feels. So childhood trauma making its way into adulthood. But it also shows like the transition from being a child star to teenager to adult woman, and how the general public as well as the industry do not like that. Because if you are a teenager, you must remain that, even if you are an adult woman with adult feelings. The industry does not like that change. They do not like to see grown women in the industry, especially in the early 2000s era. Highly recommend. And then moving into our other Battle of the Bands book, which was The Griffin Sisters' Greatest Hits by Jennifer Weiner. This was interesting. I did really like it. It is a non-linear timeline. We go back to like the early 2000s and then blip to 2024. And this is between the Griffin sisters, if you will, Cassie and Zoe, who started a band when they were younger in the early 2000s, and then it jumps to Cherry, who is Zoe's daughter, in 2024. And there was a huge falling out with the band. A tragedy happened with the band that broke them all up. Cassie is off the grid, and she was the main music person. Like, she is the one that helped write the songs. She is extremely musically talented prodigy, and her sister Zoe always wanted to be like the pop star vibes. And then Cherry is now competing to make it in the music industry. Cherry has always wanted to be a musician, is trying to make it in that industry, and Zoe keeps like knocking her down a peg. Yeah, again, family dynamics, and we go through and find out what actually happened and why the band broke up. One thing that really bothered me the most about this book was the emphasis that was continually placed on the way Cassie looked and appeared. Is described as not beautiful, she's bigger. It was constantly brought up, and I get that in the time period, as well as like today, they have an ideal for what a pop star or somebody in the music industry looks like. And Cassie did not fit into that box. However, she was such a musical prodigy. There was so much jealousy and insecurity and everything. Grinded my gears. I was so annoyed and angry about that, because it had nothing to do with her abilities. And I hate that that's part of the industry. I hate that I was part of that time period too. Like, even more so than it is in today's day and age. When We Lost Our Heads by Heather O'Neill. This was the book picked for my book club that I'm a part of. This was weird girl fiction at its finest. This was also a freaking long book. I tried to read it on my Kindle and switched to the audiobook and kept trying to dual read it, and I got to the point where I'm like, I can only listen to this via audiobook because it is so long and nothing happens, or there's no point to the things that happen, or like they're just jumbled. It is weird girl fiction. I don't think this book, no, I know this book was not for me. I know people love this book and her writing, but I felt stupid reading it because I'm like, am I just missing the point here? Because I don't see the point here. It was just weird. We have quite a few unlikable characters. The character that I liked the most was George, and George redeemed that part of the story for me. I really liked George. But the two female leads were insufferable. I really liked the talks about feminism and women uprising to have better working conditions and all of that took place. I liked the feminist aspect of the story, that portion. But then there was just like random stuff that was going on. So I don't really know. It wasn't for me. I didn't enjoy it. I was so happy to be done. If I would have been reading this on my own time, I would have DNF'd it. I was a little intrigued to see what the ending was. I really did like the ending, but not enough to like recommend reading this. But if you liked it, wonderful. Again, weird girl fiction is very hit or miss for me. I don't read enough of that subgenre to be a good candidate to recommend or not recommend those books. Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I was about to say Taylor Jenkins Reid. Nope, this is Sally Rooney, and I have been putting this off for some reason for years, and I don't know why, because Sally Rooney is one of my favorite authors. I love her works. Normal People is still one of my favorite books, and this one was amazing. This was a 5-star for me. I absolutely loved the writing. Alice is a novelist. She moves to this small town in Ireland, I believe, and she meets Felix through a Tinder date. They don't really hit it off right away, but then they run into each other again and start talking and start hanging out and kind of forming this friendship, so on and so forth. Alice communicates and emails her best friend Eileen, and Eileen lives in Dublin, and her and Simon best friends, and Alice, so it's pretty much Alice, Eileen, and Simon that are like the three besties. But Eileen and Simon have known each other their whole lives. He is about 5 years older than her, and they've had this very special connection, kind of romantic, but obviously with their age gap, especially when he was like 20, she was 15. It was inappropriate when they were children, and nothing had ever like really sparked from it except for this one moment. This book is about those connections and relationships and friendships and how they evolve. Her prose of like, it's just so lyrical. It made me feel stupid in the sense of like, I don't think like this. I don't think this deeply. I got no thoughts in this brain of mine, but I love the thoughts in here. The juxtaposition of the perspectives between Eileen and Alice that we get. It's really nice to see both of their perspectives and how they differentiate. I just thought it was absolutely so well done, and I'm so happy that I finally got to reading it. It was so good. So good. Oh, I just love her writing so much. And then I read Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Again, one I've been putting off that has been on my backlist for a while, and now I have officially finished Taylor Jenkins Reid's backlist books, and I cannot be happier. I'm so excited, ecstatic even. And this was a really beautiful, lovely, traumatic book to read. So go into this one with caution. There are very heavy themes in this one. So this is between Elsie and Ben, and they have a whirlwind romance, end up getting married, knowing each other for a short period of time. It is 9 days after their wedding. None of this is spoiler, by the way. It is 9 days after their wedding. Ben gets in an accident on his bicycle and doesn't make it. The first time she meets her mother-in-law is at the hospital. Her mother-in-law didn't even know they were married, didn't even know about Elsie. It is a non-linear timeline as well. Moments of when Ben and Elsie are first starting their relationship to a flashback of now when he is gone. What she is going through with grief and just all the feelings and little innocuous moments that send her right back to the moments when they were getting to know each other and falling in love. And we get to fall in love with them, with their relationship with Ben, to immediately get whiplash right back into the present part of the book. So the roller coaster of grief is very pivotal in here. I do love the relationships that were built between her mother-in-law as well as just her friendship with her friend Anna. It was really sad. I really love this book, and I want to say I recommend it, but just like go into it with caution. And then the last book that I finished up, and I told you guys I would finish it, and that is My Friends by Frederick Bachman. And this is his new release, and it was so good. I don't think this one will stick with me as much as his other ones, such as A Man Called Uwe and Anxious People. Those two are my favorites still by him. My Friends, it was a very beautiful book and story. A lot of trigger warnings, especially heavily presented on like the more physical abuse side. So please go into that with caution. Look up other trigger warnings, there are tons of them. This is about a group of friends growing up, as well as the now timeline. And Louisa is an artist, and she just happens to meet this really famous artist who has painted her favorite painting of all time, and it's called The One of the Sea. You can see like these three figures that are friends, and they're laughing, and just it's very moving for her. She connects so much to this specific painting. Through a lot of different events, she ends up meeting the artist of this painting, and then a whole bunch of things implode and unfold. And she ends up going on a little adventure and getting to know the backstory about the friends. Very jumpy in the timelines. Louisa, I don't know, I found her annoying, but she is endearing and sweet and insecure. She's an 18-year-old girl, and looking at the different relationships and the things that happened to them the summer that the artist painted that painting. It was a beautiful story about friendship, especially during like those hard pivotal years. Also grief and everything. Oh, it was very like summery in vibes too, because it took place primarily in the summer, and just like those nostalgic teenage 14-15-year-old vibes too, but also like the tragedy and how these kids had to grow up. I enjoyed it. If you like Frederick Bachman's writing, I would recommend it. I wouldn't recommend this as my first Frederick Bachman book, but it was very good. Those are the 7 books that I read this month. Let me know down in the comments below what your favorite book of May was that you read, and feel free to stick around and subscribe to the channel if you like bookish content. That's what I do here. So yeah, and feel free to like this video too if you liked it, and if you didn't, still feel free to like it. And with that being said, respect others, respect yourself, and do something amazing with your day. Thanks, bye.